what's right is right. I believe that a hard day's work is worth a hard day's pay. I believe in the Lord above. We should walk his walk and all share his love instead of marching to the beat of the devil's parade. I will not be broken. I won't stand around and trust some bleeding heart. It's time we all stood up, be outspoken. Bring it on, I don't care who you are. I won't be broken.
And that's right. Another Thursday night where we will not be broken. That's our
Amen.
mantra. So you'll hear that every Thursday evening here on the Real Deal broadcast. It is 6 daylight savings time in the North Texas area, which a couple of us are broadcasting from. We have guests always from a lot of different areas of the country. We got a special guest tonight. But right now, I'm your host, Big Wheels Bo Carver, and the man, the myth, the legend,
Oh, come on, you're doing
the
this
guy
again.
that knows how to get things done and is the absolute best patriot at large you can find. Please make welcome Terry Anderson.
Hey guys,
There
how are
he
you
is,
guys
right there.
tonight? Hey, man, we got a great guest, two guests coming on, a husband and wife guest coming on a little bit, and we'll go into their introduction here in a little bit. But there are some news things we need to take care of first. One of the big things that we found out about, and I'm trying to pull up the link on it, is Governor Greg Abbott, state of Texas, pardoning Perry. I think it's not Matthew Perry. I think it is Matthew Perry.
He's pardon
Yeah,
of actor.
that's right. No, is it right? God dang it!
We're always ready here on the show, folks.
I had the article pulled up and I lost.
We're both seniors, so sometimes it takes us a little bit. Sometimes we shake your hands in the air.
Well, it gives everybody a chance to keep up with us, and they can go get some coffee or
stir that coffee really good. He might get it in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
He pardoned an officer that was convicted for shooting a BLM activist back at some point in the past when all that stuff was going on, who got 25 years, but he was pardoned today by our governor. Now, can't say the person's name because I don't have it in front of me, but
Daniel Perry, I'm sorry. And Matthew Perry's the actor, sorry.
Yes.
But then there's that also that Perna out of New York that ran somebody over, and I get them mixed up sometimes because he ran somebody over with his car. But this was a shooting, and then I wanted to and then if you go on to Twitter, did I tell you how much I hate Twitter? I mean, I hate Twitter with a passion. You go on Twitter, it's just like, oh my God, it would just, yeah.
You mean X?
Yeah, whatever it is. It's still.
I mean, it's always been bad to me, but.
It says here that Abbott has since directed the Texas Board of Pardons and Paroles to consider a pardon for Perry on the expedited basis. He said, I look forward to approving the board's pardon, which they've already approved, and the recommendation as soon as it hits my desk. Under the Texas Constitution, the government does not have the sole delegated authority to pardon. The governor may only issue a pardon after the recommendation of the Board of Pardons and Paroles, and they have done that. So this is a done deal. So he will be pardoned, and that's good news, and of course, I'm on Twitter and they're like, he did this and he said he was anti this and anti that, whatever his personal beliefs were, at the time that there was a threat on somebody's life and he used lethal force to stop that, it doesn't matter what his beliefs were, because if you had
Terry, you've witnessed a lot of the stuff that went on during those times and how aggressive those BLMers were and Antifas,
yes, I have.
And they destroyed a lot of this country along the way, and they hurt a lot of people. And if you're going to take the step to go that direction, you should be ready for the consequence. So I don't have. To me, it's similar to some of these crotch rocket motorcyclists. They want to, cut through traffic and in between cars and live dangerously and do all that kind of stuff. That's fine if you want to live that way, but I'm not going to have crocodile tears for you when you get run over because you're stupid. Right. So that's how I feel about this situation, and I'm sorry to feel that way. But if you're going to go out there and act like that during those times like they were doing with the BLMers, then, suffer the consequence.
Yeah, so this
glad
was
he's getting pardoned. I'm glad to see things happening that way.
yeah, he was released an hour after his pardon. I mean, it was quick. Once he was
Fantastic.
pardoned, he was out immediately, it looks like. Released to prison within an hour after Greg Abbott's pardon. And that was on the 16th. And yeah, that's
Fantastic.
great news.
I want to commend Denton, Texas, yesterday because they had a big rally for Israel, backing Israel, and you don't see a lot of that positive stuff in Denton, Texas, but they had a big turnout for that, and thank God for that. We appreciate them doing that and supporting what needs to be supported.
Right. And then I've just got one other thing I want to touch base on. I do want to get in and talk with our guests, but I do want to show this. There is an event here tomorrow night in Dallas. And I know we have a lot of viewers from across the country, but if you are in and around Dallas and you can make it to this would be a worthwhile event. Right there. I want to block half of our face out. This is the War on Truth by the Ministry of Truth. This is a movie premiere of the War on Truth, which is another documentary about the January 6th setup and everything that happened and how it was twisted and how they've twisted the narrative on it. And so this is our War on Truth. We've got one of our board members is in the movie. We've got well, actually two of I think Mark and Jaleese are in it, and David Summerall is in it. And of course, we'll be there to represent American Patriot Relief. We will have a booth there, and we'll be selling these shirts. Let me get out of this real quick. But anyways, it's at the Angelica Theater. I think you go to ministryoftruthfilmfest.com, and that's where you can get your tickets at. They are not selling tickets at the door. You have to order them online. I think the general admission tickets are like $10. It's not much at all. So if you get a chance to come down there for that. And then we will be selling. Let's see if I can do this without messing up my camera too much. Well, we won't be selling. We'll be asking donations for these shirts. POWJ6 2021. Oops, I'm backwards there. 2021. And Missing in Action. And speaking of Missing in Action and January 6th prisoners, our next guest has been on our show before. Both of them have actually been on our show before. And one of them is a true J6er who had just got done serving some time for being there, expressing his First Amendment right, and just the fiasco that followed after that. And then they've had some other issues come up. But we want to really get in and let them come on and let's talk about that. So let me bring them on. Hey, how are you guys doing?
Hi, Terry.
Alive and well.
Yes, glad to have you guys on. You guys, this is Tom and Steffany Hamner, dear friends of ours. They've both been on here before. Matter of fact, this is Thomas's third time on here. Last week he was on, and if you all were on last week and saw what happened or heard what was happening last week, you will understand that this is an ongoing thing. And we are so glad to see you, Steffany.
Thank you.
Not behind bars, and Thomas, you're happy. And Thomas was, it was pretty it was probably the saddest show I had done last week, was just talking about that. So we're just grateful that you're out, and we're glad that you're here. And I'm just going to let you kind of dig in and tell us what's been going on, because you were supposed to come on in last week and give us all the details on everything that, the legal of everything with your daughter. And and then this happened. So I'm just going to let you explain it how best you can.
Let's kind of give them a background in case people didn't tune in last week. Kind of give a preface to what you're going to lead into for tonight, because a lot of people,
I'll do that for you. You weren't here last week.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people that I've been here. I was one of them.
So Thomas and Steffany have got a daughter, and their daughter. Well, I don't want to take her whole story, but last week we had Thomas on, and they were going to come on and talk about this case with their daughter. And Steffany had went out to see their daughter, and some things happened. And I mean, I really can't go into much more of it, Bo, without taking the story from her. So, yeah, let's hear it from you, Steffany, because this is yours and Thomas's story. Your family want to hear it from you. Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
So the short version of the family history was that after, Tom got arrested and prisoned for his, involvement in the January 6th, being there. Let's call it being there.
Breathing. He was breathing on the lawn.
20 yards away.
My.
So after Tom got arrested, I think it was about 14 months or so later, in February of 2023, when my daughter and I traveled out to Nashville to attend a Christian concert series, and she experienced a very mild mental health incident in downtown Nashville, which led to the Tennessee Department of Children's Services illegally and lawfully kidnapping my child, who have since held her hostage as a prisoner for the past almost 16 months now. Even though,
and where's she at? Where's she put?
Currently, she's in Mountain City, Tennessee. She has been institutionalized illegally for the past 12 months. So the law in Tennessee states that no child can be committed for longer than 30 days. My child has been in a level 4 residential mental health prison for 12 months.
Wow.
Abused, trafficked, sexually exploited, assaulted, tortured. I mean, you name it. And it has happened to.
And how old is she?
She is about to celebrate her 15th birthday. She was 13 when this happened, and she's about to now spend 2 birthdays away. Yeah. So that's kind of like the backstory leading up to obviously the legal battle that we're facing. We have several. I'm like, I've got more court cases than I can count on both hands right now.
Right, you do. You just added to them last week. Well, so Lilyana is there, and you guys have been fighting. You've been fighting. So while Thomas was in prison for his involvement with J6, you were also fighting with Lilyana being illegally detained by CPS in Tennessee. So you were fighting on 2 different fronts. Thomas has since gotten out, and now this thing has escalated into something even way worse than what we could have ever thought,
Yes, absolutely. So we finally started to gain some traction here locally and kind of nationally. We're sharing our story, getting synced up with Divine Connections, thankfully. And it seemed to be like we finally had some protections in Colorado. We have a representative, Colorado State Representative Ken DeGraff, backing us. He has looked into this case in great detail and has uncovered additional laws that were violated and put out a letter to all the agencies, all the governors of all the states involved in the trafficking of this child, saying, hey, this is what's happened. These are the laws that have been violated. This child needs to come home right now. And so it started looking pretty good as far as outcome is concerned. I've been studying law for 5 years under the duress that our family was put in, obviously. So I have learned way too much. We are not represented by an attorney. I stand as sui juris, and we can get into that in another episode. However, in that process, with all the things that I've learned that are lawful versus legal, et cetera, and so on, the biggest thing is that they violated federal laws. UCCJEA, it's the Uniform Child Custody Jurisdiction and Enforcement Act, which states that anytime a DCS is involved in any case of a child who's not a resident, they are required immediately to notify home state and do a full investigation. They're supposed to complete an ICPC, which is like a home study of our home here in Colorado. But most importantly, they're supposed to notify Colorado immediately, and no further hearings or proceedings should have taken place in the state of Tennessee, period. So that
they did. Needless to say, they have and they have not complied. They have not followed any of their own rules, right?
Right. Yeah. And part of the UCCJEA.
So can I ask you a question? What's the reasoning for them to be holding her so long?
Well,
you think it's
no, they're committing healthcare fraud.
Okay.
So Biden had created all of this healthcare money and all these grants, and then they are creating all of these agencies and entities that appear to be in the protection of the children, but it's not what it's about.
So it's about the money.
Yeah, they want to commit every child through mental health courts and through DCS, and they want to imprison them forever. And most families would not have the ability to fight the things that we have fought against this machine for this long. and they would have just left their child in an institution for absolutely no reason other than they felt that either they were depleted financially or they just felt they didn't have another choice.
Hey, Steffany, let me ask you this question, and I did ask Tom this question last week too. Given where Tom had been and what you guys have been through as a family, and then, he was incarcerated for his involvement with J6 when this happened, do you believe that this is politically charged?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
In the judge in this, what's the judge's name again? That asshole.
The fake judge that doesn't have an oath of office. Okay, so the fake magistrate's name is fake magistrate Enoch Elijah Wilhoit out of the Davidson County Juvenile Court in Nashville, Tennessee. So that's the name of the judge.
And so how do you when I'm asking if this is, and listen, this is this is about your daughter, and I'm not trying to take away from that at all, because, we want her back. We want you to have her back. But, if they're, we talked about the weaponized DOJ. We talk about that against J6 political prisoners, and so your daughter by default is another political prisoner.
100%.
And it's breaking my heart. And she is 13. And the rest of this story, I mean, I just about started crying right now because I heard the story last week. I've seen the pictures, and seen what's been done to her, and the stuff that they tell me what's happened to your daughter since she's been in there.
Okay, so she's gone missing overnight without it ever being reported to the police, had a sexual encounter with don't even know who, don't know the age, a pregnancy scare that was never reported to us, piercings, tattoos while in foster care, pictures of her private parts taken without our knowledge or consent. And then they asked her if she wanted to see the photos. I know where those photos ended up, of course. That's what happens when you traffic children. Torture beyond belief. The biggest thing is the liberties that have been violated in addition to the assaults, you know what I mean? Loss of all educational rights for 15 months. They don't that's not school that they give those children in there. That's not school at all. Loss of religious services, no access to church in 12 plus months. They take the Bibles away as a means of threat and coercion. In addition to just being completely brutalized by these staff members at Youth Villages in Memphis, Youth Villages, the Rose Center, where she was actually housed with another teenager by the name of Legend Jones, who was murdered back in November. And I had been screaming for months, I had been screaming for somebody to help my child. Counselors are mandatory reporters. Okay, this facility is a mandatory reporter. Her GAL, guardian ad litem, her attorney, the judge, the DCS worker, they are mandatory reporters of child abuse. And they did nothing. They did nothing to help our child. And they let another child die at the hands of 17 murderers in the facility where my daughter was being brutalized every day. So we finally got her moved to a different facility on the opposite side of Tennessee called Mountain Youth Academy. And it appeared that that facility actually followed their own set of really appropriate healthcare rules. And they had assured Lilyana, oh, we'll never hurt you like they did. We'll never do these things that this other place did. And it was literally a matter of, I think, 2 to 3 weeks. I think she got there in February. Within 3 weeks, they were injuring my child. They were doing illegal restraints lasting 30 minutes. And I put everybody on notice of the lawsuits already. So,
hey, Steffany, did you mention about the protection that they were put her on?
Oh, the birth control?
Yeah, the birth control.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, just, what was that? 2.5, 3 weeks ago, we found out that they had taken our child offsite for an offsite medical appointment, which is not, my parental rights were never taken away. Okay, you guys, I literally completed everything on the permanency plan within 60 days of her entering custody. Everything. She should have been returned then. So when it comes to medical decisions, I have 100% say in all things. Okay. I'm her mother, and that's what the law says. But instead they are just using these children. That's all they're doing. Why my 14-year-old child would need to be on birth control when she's in a lockdown facility, never to see the light of day anyways, that's concerning. The other
and they had also, said before that they had let her, or she had gotten away, or they had not known where she was, and that there had been sexual encounter. And so now they're putting her on birth control without the parental consent.
Right.
I mean, I would be furious. I would be shaking the bars of the jail down. I would be holding the bars to get in.
Yeah. When that happened a few weeks ago, that's when really I couldn't take it anymore, especially knowing that the other child that was murdered at the hands of the 17 individuals at the other facility, she was murdered for the same reason. So she was taken to an off-site medical appointment by two men. She was not supposed to be with men or be alone with men. They asked her to undress completely naked. She refused. And then it appeared that, she was feeling like she was going to tell on them for what happened. So they called the facility and had 17 people waiting for that child to murder her and beat her to death when she got back.
Oh my gosh.
So when I hear my child is off-site at a medical appointment, I literally lost my SHIT, so because I just was terrified. I was like, oh my gosh, and then I found out that it was the Nexplanon birth control that they implanted in my child's arm, which is insane because my best friend is currently involved in a class action lawsuit. Nexplanon should have been pulled from the market. It's been pulled so many times and renamed and all this stuff. That literally is involved in so many lawsuits because it has so many complications. It gets lost in your body. It's currently lost in my best friend's body. They have no idea where it is right now. I was like, dear God.
So you're learning all this as you go. You've been going back and forth. You've been out there and visited her before over the last 13 months. You've been out there, a 3 times?
Yeah.
Visited her with her and trying to go through the system. You're working within the constraints of the system, and it's not working. You're not getting any traction, or you said you're getting some, but you're not getting your daughter back. Your daughter hasn't been released. You've been begging, pleading, hey, we've done everything. We're not, she has a borderline personality disorder. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes.
And so when this event happened that got her taken from you, this was an event that this was an event that you had seen before. You had these type of events before with her. Yeah. You'd had to either restrain her, control her, hold her, whatever it was. And she's been having these for years, from what I understand. Is that correct?
Yeah. So in our mental health treatment with her over the previous 7 years, it was going really well. She had only been hospitalized once or twice a year, no more than 3 days. She's never had scars or marks on her body from injuries or anything like that. She was never missing.
Right.
I mean, she was never sexually active. She was never given the opportunity.
So you all had her committed for a period of time when she was having these episodes, right?
Well, it wasn't. She would, if she would have something happen at a school where she was threatening self-harm, the schools have medically kidnapped our child here too, where we live.
Oh my gosh.
Put her in a hospital for 72 hours. But the thing is, in Colorado, they're like, they can't keep her more than 72 hours. And after the 72 hours, I'm like, give me my child. Give me my child. And she was just completely fine.
So she had been threatening bodily harm to herself, and so they had taken her in for her own protection. So so there's a pattern here. This is not, so when you went out there to Tennessee and this happened, there had already been a pattern. You had been dealing with this. It's not that you were negligent parents. You had been taking care of your daughter as best you can, working within the system in Colorado, and now Tennessee steps in, and Tennessee says, we're going to take over and won't give your daughter back.
We've been investigated by DCS in Colorado numerous times because part of borderline personality disorder is a pattern and a history of claiming false abuse. Right. So she would, scratch her face or choke herself, and we'd take her to the walk-in clinic to get some treatment, and she would say, my mom choked me, you know what I mean? And it's part of the disorder. And if you don't have an understanding about the disorder, it can be pretty, believable, or, you can be easily manipulated. But but she wasn't even able to manipulate the investigators who would come out here. Every investigation that we have a 100-page DCS record from Colorado, and every single case says unfounded, unfounded, unfounded.
Well, and let me just interject this too, or ask you this too. So when she was taken from you in Tennessee, you were actually charged with something. I can't remember exactly what it was that they charged you with, but from my understanding is those cases, that case has also been dropped, dismissed. There's no charges against you.
Yep.
So why are they holding your daughter?
Exactly.
You know, if
They
the
just
charges,
use those initial charges as the immediate means to kidnap and traffic kids. That's what they do. And once they have them in their grip, when you're already in a corrupt system where they have these fake statutes, nobody knows the real law. They bury the real law so deep online, you know what I mean, that you cannot trust any information. It's really, really tragic.
I wonder how much money they make each year by having these children in their system. $250,000 a year.
Oh no, it's millions. You have
really
no idea.
for each
I
person?
I have receipts of that I shouldn't have, but in my evidence, I have millions and millions of dollars of receipts that Tennessee DCS was paying and funneling youth villages.
Mm-hmm.
And this was in 2012. This was years ago. This has been going on years and years with this healthcare fraud, and it's millions. And I'm like, well, why is DCS paying youth villages? Because youth villages is paid by TennCare, which is, Medicaid. It's right. It's
these are like another NGO, like they're using for the illegal aliens.
Why are they
non-government organization
millions of dollars to this facility when they already are getting paid by the medical facility? I'm just like, it's so obvious.
As somebody who studied history, this is the Pinkerton.
Just kind of cut out there. The Pinkerton.
Yeah, Rob. Y'all paused on us.
You froze up, Rob.
You're frozen.
Was arrested for child abuse resulting in injury and neglect.
Right.
And then I was found guilty. I had an adjudication hearing December 20. Well, they ruled on adjudication December 26th and said not only did they find that I was severely abusive and they changed it to severe abuse and neglect on the family court side, even though the case never even went to trial. It wasn't even enough for the prosecution to even prosecute. They literally dismissed it without a trial.
But that's what they put in their records, and so it's a sad deal that's happening, and we've had people on here, we've had people following this that want to get involved, that have some experience in just the overreach of, and so this is technically another example of our government's overreach, or bureaucracies overreaching their given role or position. And so I guess I want to get to the rest of the story, Steffany, and this is entirely up to you. If you however much about this you want to share, this is the part that sets us apart, because there's thousands of cases like yours, but there probably more.
With everything that I have learned with the law and the legal stuff about the UCCJEA, and the fact that we had protections in Colorado, we had representatives that knew of these violations that were fighting for us. The UCCJEA states that anytime, basically the UCCJEA law says that the order that the magistrate made taking custody of my child illegally is a voidable order, it's called, which means it's not enforceable in any other state, because if they are not following UCCJEA law, that means it's a voidable order. And so when I really started feeling like I didn't have a choice, this child needed to be rescued, because if we could just get her to the Colorado state line where we have protections in place for her, then it's a voidable order. It's not enforceable in any other state. So I had made a plan when I went out to go see her, and we were going to have a 6-hour pass. They've only let her leave the facility a couple of times. I knew that she was going to be able to leave the facility with me for a 6-hour approved pass. And I used that as an opportunity to just get the hell out of Dodge and drive as far as possible and as fast as I could. But we decided, to spend the night somewhere, and that was a mistake. And we ended up in St. Louis, Missouri, at a hotel to get some rest. We had 11 more hours of driving to do, and we were met with guns in our face and, the police SWAT team at 3 a.m. to kidnap my child a second time and incarcerate me on May 9th last week for felony parental kidnapping. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation's MEPS alert, which is the missing and endangered person alert that went out, stated that I violated a custodial order. I'm the non-custodial parent, which is laughable, you guys, because I am the only person in existence in the entire planet who has a certified custody order. And when I got out of jail and I got home, I found it in 2 seconds. I'm the only one. Certified custody order. I have full custody of my child. Nobody else has custody of my child, and they do not have a custody order.
And you've had to probably look at this before, given the situations where she had been, institutionalized before or brought in, and you had to probably have documentation. Hey, this is my child, and I have custody, and there's no protective custody in order or anything like that. So you did what a lot of parents talk about doing, Steffany, and I'm very proud of you. I'm very proud of you, and I don't really give a shit if people deem that as illegal or not. You did what you believed legally was right. You just spoke your case to us that they had no what did you call it again? It was they
don't have a valid certified custody order, and the petition for custody with emergency removal that the magistrate did use to kidnap my child is a voidable order because it violates
voidable order, right? Right, because it violates those laws, right? So that's a voidable order. So you were trying to get her back, and like I said, if that would have been my daughter and I had heard about rape, all these other things, and Thomas, I know you were locked up and couldn't do, what a tragedy. And so then, to have that opportunity, to get her, that's what a lot of parents in this situation would say, I would have done the same thing, but a lot of them don't because they're fearful of the, repercussions of that. And now you're going to deal with some repercussions from this. You're going to have a longer legal battle because of this. Yeah. We just wanted to help get you on here, bring awareness to this, and also, get our community behind you, get other people behind you, have other podcasters that are seeing this show or hear about this, be able to get you on to continue to speak the truth about this and Lilyana's kidnapping,
Yeah, you want to know the most ironic thing about that incident last Thursday was that within an hour or two, Tennessee already had my daughter's DCS worker all the way in Missouri picking her up to traffic her a second time. Now listen, Representative Ken DeGraff called Christisha Young, the DCS worker, when she was in the process of trafficking the child again. And he said, you are literally breaking the law right now, because even if the child is found in Missouri, the law says she needs to go to home state. So then they just committed another trafficking crime, and they were warned by the state representative who said, you're in the process of trafficking this child right now. You need to bring this child to Colorado. This is a crime, what you're doing. She lives in Colorado, so if you find her in Missouri, they're still supposed to bring her. I'm like, this just gets better and better, you guys. Every day of our lives is like literally completely insane.
Well, I know that when we met you the first time and you came on and you talked with Thomas and you spoke a little bit about Lilyana at that time, I knew that you were a mama bear, but I just didn't know how big of a mama bear you were. So, Thomas, are you okay with Thomas?
My new nickname is Gigi, Godly Gangsta.
Thomas, and listen, you and I have talked privately. We're friends, and you have a strong wife there, and I know that you have her back. She had your back while you were gone, and you and I talked about this over the last couple of weeks a lot. What's your thoughts on all of this?
I'm blown away. I mean, something had to happen. Something had to happen to get some sort of movement with this, because the one who's suffering the most is Lilyana.
Yeah. And her baby brother, of course.
And her little brother, who was...
Oh, and don't forget, you guys, just yesterday, they have now issued an ex parte restraining order against me now, which means that they have cut off all contact between my child and I. And they did this because during a visit yesterday, a video visit that I had with my daughter, at the last few minutes of the visit, we had her speaking to somebody who's advocating for her, right? And they wanted to know how she was doing and what's been happening since she got back to the facility. And she was telling them she wants to go home. They've already been negligent and neglecting her since she got back. They've taken away all of her long sleeves and her pants. She's freezing cold. Her hands and
Okay, now you froze up a little bit. Your hands are like this, and they're frozen in place.
Sweaters because they keep this facility. There we go. There we go. Yeah. So meanwhile, the staff's all wearing sweaters, and my child's freezing to death. So she's just communicating the abuses that are happening to her, and then all of a sudden, the person supervising our visit lost their shit and ended. They said, we're going to end this right now until we hear from DCS. And I'm like, you're literally violating a court order right now. I have 5 hours of court order visitation. What? You know, and then they go and issue an ex parte restraining order against me, which is funny because we were in the process of getting our own ex parte restraining order from against them. Right. Because they're watching all of our things, they go and do it to us before we can do it to them. So now
I be able to do that. You can't do it.
Make sure that she's safe.
Can you still file that restraining order against them, or is it like too late now? It's like whoever fires first, or what is it?
You know, we are so wrapped up in so much legal stuff right now. I have yet to look into that. We're exhausting all avenues possible. We're hitting it from all angles. We have investigative agencies across multiple jurisdictions going head on. You guys should see the things in these motions. It's pretty laughable what they put in this restraining order. They're like, Tom was in the background saying, you know, all kinds of crazy things. I'm like, Tom was on a video call in another room. You know what I mean? It's just, which is why I recorded the whole entire visit, and I'm going to see if I can transcribe.
Oh, that was one thing I wanted to ask you too, and I think I had asked you. I told you before the show I wanted to ask you this. So when you and you said you had a video clip, but we're having trouble getting it over because it's 30 minutes, and we
I can do like this though if you guys want to watch it.
Well, we might do that because and it's not that we don't believe you. But it's because we know you have that proof, and we know you're a good mom, and but. My question to you was, does Lilyana want to come home? And you said, of course she does. Yes, she does. And she's voiced that to you. This is not a child that wants to be there, that's afraid to come to her own home. She's probably realized, hey, I kind of messed up by stepping over the line there. And please, Mom, get me home, You guys
want to hear what's funny is that motion gave some details as to how our daughter behaved after they cut our visit off and everything. And because our daughter's an advocate, she's like my mini me, and the mini Tom. So she literally was like standing on desks and like causing a scene, saying this facility is complacent with the trafficking of children, and and they were like, this is all Mom's fault. She shouldn't talk to Mom anymore. This is the fault of the abuse that she has suffered.
You know what? If there's anything that will get her through those dark times, and I know this from experience, and Thomas knows this from experience too, is that if she has a passion for something and she feels like she should speak out about it, that's probably going to carry her through some dark times. So,
and it does. She loves helping those other girls in there, and she loves telling them their rights and what the laws are, and passing along my information to their parents. So if they need help, they can call me.
Well, Tom, we kind of cut you off again there. Do you want to share what you were saying, how this has affected you and what you've had to deal with, and tell us about going and getting Steffany and stuff the other day?
Well, after talking with you Thursday, I found out Saturday. I found out Saturday that she had a bond. And so I flew out the following day, Sunday, with my 6-year-old, our 6-year-old, to go out there and see what we could do about bringing Mom back home with us. Pretty unknown going out there. I had no idea that we were going to be successful, but I managed to find a gentleman who has his own bail bonds without the insurance coverage that a lot of bail bondsmen carry, which allowed him to make the decision without having to talk to, somebody else. And he was able to help me get Steffany released. It was challenging. That's for sure. It didn't happen right away. A couple different things had to take place. Court had to be closed before we could finally get everything done. but we got everything done, and she and I drove straight home. We left the hotel.
All ass.
No stopping this time.
We took turns going. We took turns driving back to Colorado to get here as quickly as possible, and now, it's kind of funny. So the fact that I don't want to be away from her, and she doesn't want to be away from me right now.
Right.
I totally understand what it's like to have somebody just 1 minute they're there and 1 minute they're gone, and you're
call that a trauma bond is what that is, you guys, and that's what you're going through. And I'm so sorry for you, but you'll get through this.
Yeah, your story reminds me of the story that everybody needs to watch, and your story needs to be as out there as much as this. It was on Netflix called "Take Care of Maya."
Oh yeah, love it.
It's very similar. Very similar. If you've seen that, and if anybody's not seen that, you need to go to Netflix if it's still there. Hopefully it will be, but search it. It's called Take Care of Maya, and it's about a young lady that was taken from the hospital, and the mother was accused of abuse and all the things, which was totally untrue. And it just went all the way for I don't know, I guess even years, where that child was under a child protective services or under that kind of care that your daughter's under, and was mistreated and all the kind of things. And they never, ever could get her out.
Yeah.
And finally, it's a terrible, terrible story. And people need to see. The reason I'm bringing that up is your story is not out there like that, but it's a similar story. How the overreach of our government can come in and really just completely out of line and do the horrific things that they did. And I'm telling people to go check that out, because you can see your story.
The Program is another one. It's called The Program on Netflix.
Okay.
It's a documentary that's literally identical to what my daughter is experiencing in these facilities. It's called The Program. It's just disgusting and mortifying. It was very hard for me to watch.
Well, I'm bringing this up because, you got your story, and we're praying and making sure, but people need to know this stuff is really happening. It's not you, it's all over the place. And it's the overreach of our government that's interfering in our lives. And it's horrible. And it makes people want to go do things that they shouldn't. That's what they're doing. They keep pushing you to do things so that they can do more things against you. And that's what was happening with the case with the take care of Maya. Because the more she tried to tell them or say you were wrong, the more that they locked her down, the more they divided her and the daughter. And it's just disgusting. And I feel for you, because I saw that and I was devastated by that story. And I'm really devastated by your story.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's challenging to sit here and see your daughter, who she's really the victim. Her and her mom are really the victim here. But
I can't imagine what you're going through.
For people to feel that this amount of time is a healthy experience for this young lady, my daughter, for anybody to think that is just disgusting to me. This girl, she never had any of the injuries that she's experienced when she was here at the house. She had nothing but love. I mean, she didn't get beat up by anybody in the house like she has in these facilities. She hasn't, her self-harm was nothing. It is right now, because all she sees is the result.
She had the one wound that I saw, that she had her self wound, which they obviously were not monitoring her close enough to stop that, but that looked like a pretty significant wound. Thomas, did you tell me how many stitches that was? That was in and out stitches.
18 stitches for that cut.
Yeah.
And where was that at?
On her upper thigh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, Thomas, I just want to thank you, and if Steffany gets a chance to jump back on here, we're going to let you guys take care of your family and get back to it, and we want to thank you for coming on. Is there any way that our viewers can help, or what can we do to help?
The biggest thing is anybody that can help us in our fight, whether it's with information, if they want to advocate, if they want to help us in fundraising, things of that nature. That's kind of what we're focused on right now. You can always check out our givesendgo.com, Patriots fight. You can reach out to us by getting a hold of Terry at APR, and he can get us connected.
Yeah.
But
you can always reach out to me here. We'll definitely get you connected.
One of the biggest things I hope comes of this is I hope that some of the parents that have given up, I hope this inspires them to pick it back up and fight for their families again, because watching what's gone on for the last 15 months, you don't know how many times I felt defeated, but I knew that I had to go on. But that feeling of defeat, I started to think about, well, what about parents that don't have, a loving husband or wife to keep pushing them and telling them that they're doing the right thing and supporting them? I mean, that defeat that I felt, I could see how you might just lose energy.
Yeah. Well, that's what Lilyana's feeling too, is she's in there, and that she's got days where, she doesn't know, if she's going to see you guys until she's 18, or 19, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to bring that on, but I mean, it's, she's got to be having but it's, and she knew you, and she knows you love her. Steffany, you went there to get her, you talked to her. She said, "Let's go." I'm thinking Thelma and Louise just down the road, So
we had the best road trip ever. It was amazing.
Well, you'll have more again, Steffany. You will have more again. I promise you that. God's not done with this situation, and I believe that God is working. Do you got a scripture that's going to tie in with this today, Bo? We'll do a scripture.
Believe it or not, I think I might do. So
go ahead.
This comes from Psalms 142, 9. 7:9, and it says, "Rescue me from my enemies, Lord, for I hide myself in you. Teach me to do your will, for you are my God. May your good spirit lead me on level ground. For your name's sake, Lord, preserve my life. In your righteousness, bring me out of trouble. In your unfailing love, silence my enemies. Destroy all my foes, for I am your servant."
That's good.
How about that? Now, God sent this to me because it was right on target, and that's I pray before we do these shows. I do the scriptures every week, and it's kind of amazing how they tie in. And I believe this is right for you.
Did you guys see the chat? You guys asked me to send the info for the Monday's hearing in the chat, but I don't know if that goes to you guys. Because before we break, if you guys share that in the public. If that's not public, I just wanted to.
It's in the private chat. I don't know how to send it over to the regular.
I think you can just copy it. Yeah,
in the comments. Should I copy and paste in the comments?
Yes.
But just for anybody listening, we have a hearing taking place via WebEx on Monday, the 20th. It's going to be at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. That's 11 a.m. Central Time or 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Don't make me go backwards and do Pacific Time. But the key to helping each other out as we the people, you guys, is creating witnesses to help each other out and appear just in the audience at each other's hearings, because the more people and the more eyes that are on these judges breaking the law and not allowing testimony and all of these different things, they tend to act very, very differently when you have support in your audience. So what we are asking for is an outcry, an overwhelming, response of people who can join that WebEx link just in support, just to sit and watch. You do not have to testify. You do not have to speak. If they ask you who you are, you can just say, "I'm here in support of the Hamners," as you know what I mean, in support, and that's it. But we're going to have a house full of people in the background kind of watching the court hearing. We're going to have agencies live streaming that. I mean, I'm not going to stop until these people are held accountable. And this is where it starts.
And I did copy and paste that over, Steffany, and it is in the comments here. If you guys want to get this, what she's saying is that they're going to have this hearing on Monday, and it's a open hearing, and anybody.
Is that a video link? Is that what that
Yes,
is?
yes,
You
it's
could
like
be
a
from
Zoom.
anywhere and join
Yes.
the
So if you
hearing.
get a chance, if there's hundreds of thousands of people on there, be there on Monday. What time is it at again, Steffany?
It's going to be at 10 a.m. Mountain time.
Okay, so that's going to be 9 for us. No, it's going to be 11 for us. So
It's
yes,
an hour difference between us and them, I believe.
yeah. So it's going to be
Central
11
is an
o'clock.
hour difference. Eastern is 2.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, we are definitely going to continue to pray for you guys. We want to thank you guys for coming on. We're going to
And also one more thing is that as things progress, if something really kicks in and that's hardcore that we need to know, hopefully more plus than negative, please notify Terry so that we can have you back on to give us updates, because we need to know the updates. We want to hear the winning. We want to hear the finish line and the winning process of this finalization. Okay. We'll pray for that to happen.
And we know God's got this, and we're praying for Liliana and for you. This is a family under attack, you guys. So keep
another one,
prayers. Another family under attack. We love you guys. Okay, we'll see you soon. All right.
Thank you so much, Terry.
Thank you, Terry. Love you guys.
Thanks, y'all.
Bye.
Thanks, you guys.
where you been, Speed Racer?
Well, that's why I wanted to get not to cut them off, but we were kind of done with that anyways. But wanted to get Speed Racer on to talk about the pardon. The Daniel Perry pardon. Did you hear about that?
No, I'd heard about another pardon though that never got enforced. Trixie dug up something yesterday where that evidently Trump had pardoned Edward Snowden and the FBI never put it through.
Back when he was president?
Yeah.
I don't know how they can not do that.
I don't know. That was just kind of like,
well, this is Daniel Perry, who's a police officer, and he actually killed a BLM protester in the midst of violence and defending his life or defending somebody else's life. But he was sentenced and given 25 years, and he was pardoned and released within an hour of his pardon.
Which was what, the 16th?
The 16th, yeah. So that was today.
It was today?
Today. Yeah, it was today, yeah.
You should try to see if you can get him on our program.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chase him down.
But, yeah, there's just that, and just we had we've got this event coming up tomorrow in Dallas, and another thing too is I'll be going to the Texas GOP meeting. I'll be leaving next Wednesday night, be down there for our Texas GOP delegate thing, to go down there and represent American Patriot Relief. We're going to have about 5 or 6 people down there, a bunch of January 6ers down there. We're going to be right in the delegates' faces with, hey, look at this shirt, Rob. Let's see if I can show you.
Oh, that's there.
Let me show off my girlish figure. Let me suck it in real quick.
Yes.
There you go. So,
eat a corset.
Yeah, I did. I was like, I can't breathe now. But no, it's going to be awesome. We're going to be down there representing American Patriot Relief and all of the illegal political prisoners that they're keeping still 3 years later. So just a lot going on, and but that deal with Daniel Perry, that's a huge deal. To have that happen, because that went again, there was 2 different, and we talk about this a lot, how there's different narratives. There's the left narrative, and that's what carried that through and got that conviction. But ultimately, at the end of the day, hopefully that's what we're hoping for the January 6th community, is that there'll be pardons and that there'll be people freed and people joyously celebrating that happening. But until then, we're under attack. Our whole community is. I also watched an article on Glenn Beck today, and Glenn Beck was talking about how the FBI is, targeting anybody who was at January 6th for being Christians, because they were praying. Oh my gosh. And they were Christians, and they were, because what'd you say?
I heard that the House was trying to pass this anti-Semitic bill, and that would have done stuff like make the Bible straight up illegal contraband. And I'm like, yeah, that's never. If that somehow passes the Supreme Court, then there's going to be problems, because you're not taking my Bible, not a fight.
Well, we have issues all along that line. I mean, that's what they're trying to do. This is what Glenn Beck was trying to say. He was saying that there's one thing that a government fears is a power greater than them. And who's the power greater than our government?
The people.
God.
And-
It's God. Yeah, you know. Well, it hasn't been we the people lately. You know, they've kind of one-upped us lately, you know.
Yes, they have.
Now they can't beat God. God's got a plan, but they got our number, we the people. They've been keeping us down for quite a while. And they've learned how to do it pretty good.
Yeah, their God is the government, which
Right.
is why the left voted God off their platform in 2012.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Which is
been
why
literally
all hell broke loose since then.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just been an influx of evil.
Which is why the white nationalist movement, you know, the conservative nationalist movement, or white, whatever it is, that's what scares them the most, because we have a God that's bigger, different than the government, you know.
Them.
Yeah, than them. That's right. And they love it. Tell me they haven't loved it the last 4 years, with politics taking on such a movie-like role, and everybody's just so enmeshed and immersed in watching everything that's going on, and they're like movie stars now instead of just being, you know, public servants like they're supposed to be.
Well, you know, they say that Washington D.C. is Hollywood for ugly people.
There you go.
Well, they got the leader that's probably the ugliest there is. So you can't get any worse than Biden in being ugly. So, you know, they've already got that top of the line on the top.
You can definitely tell who's traded their souls.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, guys, we are getting close to the top of the hour. I just wanted to touch base on a couple of those things too. Any other current news? Rob, you're supposed to be our current news guy, and you weren't here at the beginning of the show. So
this week, all news is eclipsed by the kangaroo court Stormy Daniels trial.
Oh,
so
yeah.
like you know, today it was all about Michael Cohen and his perjury. He just blatantly lies on the stand, knowing that he's lying and knowing that everybody can prove that he's lying. You know, so
and they don't care.
Really good. No, well, they're just gonna run through the trial, and the jury that's like 95% Democrats just going to, you know, say he's guilty, and then they win on appeal. And because it's all bull crap, all of it. Yeah, we can go even, I don't know, there was a clip from Bill Maher this week talking about, you know, what have we done? We had him in all these trials, and he listed down through. Now, he was wrong about some of it, like the Mar-a-Lago documents case is not going to go anywhere. They finally had to admit that picture that went viral that had classified cover sheets on everything. They stuffed just regular papers underneath those cover sheets, and they had to admit that they did, and they posed that picture. So they had to admit that this week. So that's fallen apart. That they're going to look at the Willie, what's her name, in Atlanta for maybe getting her disbarred, or
well, yeah, it's about time her and the prosecuting attorney there
trial.
You're kind of cutting out a little bit, Rob. You have that same issue when we move. I think if I just sit still.
I was saying the Fannie Willis trial is falling apart because
right.
Fannie. Okay.
Here we go.
Well,
yeah, I think
we'll have to we'll get back to that.
Maybe there's a storm coming through. I don't know what it is.
Do I have to go out there and push the pack?
Yeah, go out there and stand on the top of the roof and put your hand.
It's usually me, but it's getting catchy. I'm passing it. It's like the virus. Well, I'm going to head out. My son's with me, and spend some time with him before he leaves tomorrow. Great seeing you, Speed Racer. Right, Terry, the Patriot at Large Anderson. Thank you.
Yeah, come back next week, guys. I'm going to put us some music out, and we will see you all. If I can get down to it, I can't get to it.
See you next Thursday at 6.
We won't be broken.
Daylight savings time here on the Real Deal broadcast.
Just sing it.
We will not be broken.
Now I got no volume on that. All right, guys. Yes, it's been great. We love you.
I've got it on Spotify.
We're going to end this like we started it, half kilter and off stance. So love you guys. We'll see y'all next week.
We've been hot tonight.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye.
All right. Bye, guys.
All right. Peace out, y'all.